The top stories tonight in Y News. Meralco power rates to go down this month.
The House of Representatives ratifies the bicameral conference committee report on the proposed 4.5 trillion peso national budget for 2021.
Valenzuela LGU postpones talks with NLEX operator over possible court case on business permit suspension. A lawmaker urges authorities to create strategies to improve the public's vaccine confidence.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration reviews confirm the safety and efficacy of the Pfizer coronavirus vaccine.
And the Japanese government will invest in artificial intelligence to bring single citizens together. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, December 9, 2020. I am Harleen Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news. The House of Representatives has ratified the final version of the 4.5 trillion peso national budget, while clarifications are still being raised at the Senate plenary. Earlier today, the bicameral conference committee adopted and approved its version of the budget bill. House Appropriations Committee Chair Eric Yap said 23 billion pesos is placed for the rehabilitation of communities that were severely hit by the recent typhoon. This include funds from the unimplementable infrastructure projects that were earlier questioned by Senator Panfilo Lacson. Meanwhile, a total of 72.5 billion pesos is allocated for the COVID-19 vaccines. The programmed funds is at 2.5 billion pesos under the Department of Health, which was the original proposed funding by the Executive Department under the National Expenditure Program, while the 70 billion pesos is under the unprogrammed funds, which will be sourced from non-tax revenues and foreign and local loans. Senate Finance Committee Chairperson Sonny Angara said the Department of Finance has already assured the sources for the vaccine funds.
Ang akala kasi ng iba, pag unprogrammed, hindi siya mapoposte. But it's not true. The probability of being funded is large. We're assured by the DOF that mapopondohan talaga yun.
According to Angara, another 10 billion pesos is set to be added for the COVID-19 vaccine once Congress passes law extending the validity of appropriations under the Bayanihan to Recover as One Act, as well as the 2020 national budget. The education sector got the biggest chunk of the allocation with 708 billion pesos, while the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, placed second with 694 billion pesos, followed by the health sector with 287 billion pesos. Representative Yap said that some fundings for the COVID-19 response have been lodged in various agencies, such as the funds for the building of quarantine facilities that have been placed under the DPWH budget. The lawmaker also explained why the budget for infrastructure projects in some districts are higher compared to other districts.
Malaki talaga yung pagpapantay ng districts dahil may malaking districts, may maliit, meron sa ibang terrain. And especially yung build project ng Presidente, it depends kung saan yung may malaking build projects. Kaya minsan mas lumulo ko yung distrito.
Meanwhile, the budget for the controversial National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or NTFL-CAC, was left untouched.
Meanwhile, the local government of San Juan, Batangas has ordered the closure of a resort that hosted a beach party that defied the government's COVID-19 protocols. The Department of Tourism, meanwhile, condemned the recent resort party, calling it another reckless social gathering. Asher Kadapan Jr. will tell us why.
Another unlawful mass gathering was held in the beach resort in Laia, San Juan in the province of Batangas last Monday. In a video taken by a concerned citizen, a big group of people gather for a party, careless of the risk of COVID-19 transmission, especially while the town is under general community quarantine. The participants were seen without wearing any face mask and face shield and were not observing the social distancing protocol. The Department of Tourism condemns the incident and calls it a reckless mass gathering, violating the guidelines of the Interagency Task Force on the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, or IATF-MEID. The local government unit of San Juan, on the other hand, immediately went to the venue upon hearing the said event on the same day.
Ang IATF po sa pangunguna po ng ating mayor ay pinahinto po ang party. Meron po kaming mga pinadala po ng mga police po doon sa area para po agawan ng parahan na hindi na maituloy po kung ano man po yung kanilang ginagawa.
San Juan LGU yesterday served a show-cause order against the owner of the beach resort and closed the establishment down. Record shows that the resort was also suspended in September 2 to 17 due to another violation against the IATF guidelines. It was allowed to resume operation after filing a declaration of compliance and adherence in the health and safety protocols. Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat reminds all accommodation and tourism establishments in Batangas and other tourist destinations that were already opened to follow the IATF's guidelines at all times. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, has urged all local government units, or LGUs, to strictly impose the prohibition on mass gatherings pursuant to the guidelines issued by the Interagency Task Force. Aiko Miguel explains why.
People who will be caught conducting mass gathering like reunion and karaoke party this holiday season will be facing penalties or fine. According to the Interior and Local Government Undersecretary Epimaco Densing, details of it will be included in the ordinances that will be issued by the local governments.
The punishment for those who violate the minimum public health standards is dependent on the executive orders or ordinances or resolutions passed by the local government. So it's always the basis for our Philippine National Police to arrest those who violate the minimum public health standard depending on the local ordinance.
The Philippine National Police will help to monitor the social media accounts of netizens who will be posting gatherings and not following quarantine protocol. The PNP will also roam in areas to disassemble mass gatherings. Experts repeatedly reminds the public not to conduct mass gatherings because of the COVID-19 threat. The government is also preventing experts' projection of a possible holiday surge that will cause COVID-19 cases to reach 500,000 after holiday season. The DOH once again reminds the public to only conduct online gatherings and online shopping instead of conducting in an area.
I think the reasons are basically the same. No? The increased mobility of people because of the holiday seasons, and that is why this is a warning to all of us that if we let our guard down, you're going to really see what we've been saying all along, a surge in the number of cases.
Meanwhile, according to Tourism Assistant Secretary Maria Rica Bueno, they will issue a joint memorandum circular with the Department of Trade and Industry in conducting workshops, trainings, and seminars in selected areas under GCQ. The allowed capacity on a venue is only 30%. Approved selected areas are restaurants and function rooms inside hotels.
Meron na pong na-draft kasi naatasan ang Department of Tourism at saka ang DTI na gumawa ng IRR for this. So we already drafted it and It's already currently being reviewed by DTI. Very careful po ang ginawang pagsusuri, no, para yung recommendation natin is really on a gradual basis.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Another government official has tested positive for COVID-19, and he is Department of Trade and Industry or Secretary Ramon Lopez. Lopez is the fourth cabinet member of President Rodrigo Duterte who tested positive for the virus. Rosalie Cos explains why. Rosalie, go ahead.
Diego, Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez is on full isolation after he has tested positive for coronavirus disease last Monday. Lopez is the fourth cabinet member of President Rodrigo Duterte who got the infectious disease. Despite being a COVID-19 positive, Lopez still attended a Congress and Palace press briefing virtually today. The Trade Secretary had no personal interactions with President Duterte recently.
I tested positive. So, nagpa-test ako dahil lamang ko na-expose ako sa isang nag-positive. And of course, yung ka-meeting din sa labas, sa mga evacuation center, hindi mo alam kung saan mo nakuha. So, nagpa-test ako last Sunday. And lumabas ng Monday. So, sa dami kong test, puro negative. Ito, first time ko nag-positive.
According to the official, he is asymptomatic. As a member of the economic luster of the Duterte administration, Lopez is among the officials who want to further open the economy amid the pandemic. He also reminded the public for the upcoming holiday season to follow the minimum health protocols to prevent COVID-19 resurgence in the country.
We hope na mag-cooperate tayo to bring down the health numbers. Yung pagsunod po, yung disiplina. Dito ho sa ating 7 commandments para talagang maiwasan ng todo yung paglaganap, pag-spread ng COVID. And with that, we can have the confidence to reopen much more in terms of more sectors, more segments of our society, and hopefully a lower quarantine into next year.
Diego, aside from Lopez, Interior Secretary Eduardo Año, Education Secretary Leonor Briones, and Public Works Secretary Mark Villar contracted COVID-19, but they had already recovered. Diego?
Thank you for that report. Rosalie Cos reporting live. The Department of Health confirmed 1,387 new COVID-19 cases today, pushing the country's total to 444,164. The DOH said there were 156 new recoveries and 7 more fatalities, pushing the tally of recoveries and deaths to 408,942 and 8,677 respectively. Batangas has the most number of new cases with 71, followed by Quezon City with 70, Davao del Norte with 64, Benguet with 59, and Quezon with 57. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III urged the public to continue to be vigilant as there is a possibility that the number of cases will increase during the holiday season.
And for those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on the right side of your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
Good news for Meralco customers as they may expect cheaper electric bills this holiday season. Asher Kadapan Jr. tells us why.
The Manila Electric Company announced a year-end good news to their customers as another downward adjustment for power rates in typical households this December takes effect. The rate has decreased by almost 4 centavos per kilowatt hour for the consumption this month. The reduction is equivalent to 7 pesos decrease in bill for those consuming 200 kilowatt per month, 11 pesos for 300 kilowatt per month, 14 pesos for 400 kilowatt, and 18 pesos for 500 kilowatt. According to Meralco, the reduced rate is due to lower generation charge and wholesale electricity spot market.
And the reason behind the reduction is basically a lower Luzon grid demand from 4 pesos and 20 centavos per kilowatt hour in November. The generation charge decreased by 5 centavos this December. All sources of supply likewise registered lower charges for the month.
Meralco once again reassures that they will continue to hold any disconnection of service to all their customers until the year ends. But they are looking to implement the disconnection process in January 2020 for customers with overdue bills that are yet to be paid. Meralco explains that they need customers to pay their electricity bills to avoid any disruption of operation on the power distributor's end and provide continuous service to their customers. The electric company, however, assures that their supply is enough this month, especially that the demand in November was lowered due to successive weather disturbances. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Embattled North Luzon Expressway Corporation is mulling to file a temporary restraining order or against the suspension of its business permit by the Valenzuela city government. Joe Anano tells us why.
NLEX toll collection within the jurisdiction of Valenzuela City remains to be suspended as of today. Valenzuela City Mayor Rex Gatchalian was supposed to meet NLEX officials by tomorrow to tackle the proposed action plan to solve traffic problems within the city brought by the RFID system. However, Mayor Gatchalian heard over a radio interview earlier with NLEX Corporation spokesperson saying that they are seeking help from the national government regarding their suspension and said that they wish not to resort on filing a temporary restraining order. Mayor Gatchalian argues that if that will be the case, there should be no meetings to discuss the matter and that they should face NLEX in the court.
So yung second portion na yun, yung TRO, I took it, the city government took it, not me. The city government took it as a veiled threat na they are going to sue the city government. Kung mag-uusap rin naman pala kami sa korte, bakit pa tayo magda-dialogue? So the ball is back in their court. They want to bring us to court. Go ahead. We welcome it.
The UNTV news team tried to seek a comment from the NLEX Corporation, but they are yet to give their statement on the issue. With the possible filing of a TRO, the court might hold a suspension of NLEX business permit, allowing them to resume their toll collection. Meanwhile, Caloocan City Mayor has also summoned NLEX officials to tackle the problems encountered with their RFID system. Mayor Malapitan expresses his concern as intense traffic in Valenzuela City brought by the RFID system has caused severe traffic jam in Caloocan City.
In-invite ko ang officials ng NLEX upang sa ganun ay bigyan kami ng paliwanag at bigyan kami ng konkretong ang araw kung kailan nila maayos ang nasa ating problema. Talagang naunawaan ko si Mayor Rex. Talagang permission todo-todo sa Valenzuela doon sa General Luis. Umaabot pa nga ako ng Caloocan yan eh.
In a separate statement, Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte also said that she is in support of Mayor Gatchalian's move in suspending NLEX business permit as buildup of traffic within Mindanao Avenue and Smart Connect Toll Plaza also affect Quezon City's traffic situation. On the other hand, the Toll Regulatory Board assures the concerned local chief executives that they are working on top of this and is working with the toll operators to resolve the glitches within the RFID system.
Ang may papangako naman po namin sa kanila, yung hangarin nyo, hangarin din namin. At ginagawan po at ginagampanan naman po ng lahat ng kaparaanan ng DRB na maasikaso ng ating mga toll operators at matugunan at masolusyonan itong mga aberya pang nararanasan.
Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A lawmaker raised the possibility of vetoing the Toll Regulatory Board budget for 2021 over its inaction on the RFID mess that worsened traffic on Toll Expressway. Ray Pelayo reports.
Ang Kongreso po inaksyonan na po ito, hindi pa po nangyayari. Kanya lang wala masyadong nakikinig sa sinasabi po natin. Ngayon nagkakaproblema na po tayo.
House Committee on Transportation Chairperson Representative Edgar Sarmiento expressed dismay over the problems encountered in the full implementation of cashless transaction on toll expressways. The lawmaker had already submitted recommendations to the Transportation Department to stop its implementation after seeing that it is not yet ready. Sarmiento said part of the recommendation is to move the implementation to January next year, and even Speaker Alan Velasco appealed to extend it to March. The lawmaker even suggests that there should be informative signs and placing stickers should be inside the expressway.
Ginagawa po ang public road as parking area. Mali po yun. Samantalang ang lapad-lapad, ang haba-haba naman expressways.
Sarmiento said it is the Toll Regulatory Board's mandate to supervise the implementation of the cashless transaction. The lawmaker emphasized that the readiness of NLEX should be assured before the implementation because there are millions of vehicles plying the expressway. He noted that the TRB should consult first the DTI, DICT, and BSP who should check the equipments of NLEX, especially it needed to be upgraded.
6.1 million ang vehicles po sa NCR Regions 3, Regions 4B. Kinumpit po natin siguro next 2 years, hindi pa po malalagyan ng stickers.
The TRB said they are now conducting audit on the matter, but they saw the readiness of NLEX before they allowed the implementation of the cashless transaction.
Siguro, masasabi natin na nung maipatupad, by December 1, yung completely cashless, medyo naglabasan na meron pa palang mga bagay na dapat talagang asikasuhin, ayusin at hagarang tugunan nang sa ganun mas lalong mapaganda ang takbo ng trapiko sa ating expressways.
Sarmiento threatens that it will block the budget of TRB for 2021 or it will appeal to President Duterte to veto it.
Hindi lang po pinakikinggan ang House of Representatives. Kaya may huli pa po kaming alas sa ratification ng budget. Sana makinig naman po sa amin ng DOTC. Pushback niyo po kasi kawawang tao.
The lawmaker said that they don't want government to take over the operation of NLEX if things get worse. Ray Pilayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Department of Health is currently computing how much it would cost the government to provide Filipinos free COVID-19 tests. Aiko Miguel reports.
Health Secretary Francisco Duque III said they have started studying the process and measures to roll out free COVID-19 testing in the Philippines. The DOH said they have started computing for its needed fund.
Pinag-aandaan na natin ito kung magkano ang kakailanganin na investment for free testing. No? At yun ang isusumitin natin kay Pangulo para mapondohan. Dahil siyempre, yung paghanap naman ng pondo ay trabaho ng ibang ahensya ng pamahalaan katulad ng Department of Finance at Department of Budget and Management. So alamin pa natin ang pangkalahatan na investment na kinakailangan.
According to Secretary Duque, the free COVID-19 test will most likely prioritize the frontliners and individual who had an exposure with a COVID-19 patient.
That will continue. And it is a welcome news that our President would like to put in more resources in testing so that this will unburden our people from the cost. But as I have said in the same meeting, of course, we will follow the directive of the President.
The DOH has also talked with private laboratories to make ways for more affordable COVID-19 testing.
Mga 70% of all the laboratories, that will be about 80 to 90 laboratories of the public sector. No? So, nakikiusap naman ako sa mga pribadong mga laboratorio. So, maganda sana, babaan nyo na para talaga hindi na pabigat sa ating mga kababayan.
Based on the joint administrative order of the DOH and DTI, government laboratories' reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction or RT-PCR test is set at 3,800 pesos. For private laboratories, RT-PCR testing is set at 4,500 pesos as minimum or floor price and 5,000 pesos for minimum or sitting price of RT-PCR testing. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
A lawmaker urged authorities to create strategies to improve public confidence on the impending COVID-19 vaccine. Kath Dumaraos will tell us why.
Senator Risa Ontiveros called on the Department of Health and the local government units to work closely with barangay health workers of indigent communities to come up with strategies to improve public confidence in vaccination. Ontiveros made the call following reports that 31% of Filipinos were unwilling to get the COVID-19 vaccine. She said LGUs should begin mobilizing barangay health workers of areas to be prioritized in the rollout of COVID-19 vaccine to conduct a survey in order for the DOH to tailor fit education programs that could directly respond to the vaccine anxieties of people in the area. The senator believes that barangay health workers can also help in restoring confidence in vaccination by ensuring that all verified information is translated in the local tongue. She also urged the DOH, LGUs, and the National Telecommunications Commission to mount a mega vaccine confidence project in 2021 to broadcast vaccine education programs suited to different regions. The Philippine government earlier said it is looking to roll out its COVID-19 immunization program in 2021 or 2022 and to administer it to at least 70 million Filipinos within 3 to 5 years. Malacanang said that frontline health workers will be the first priority in the vaccine distribution, followed by senior citizens, poor Filipinos, and uniformed personnel. Areas with high cases of novel coronavirus disease such as Metro Manila, Davao, and Cebu will be prioritized in the distribution of the vaccines once it becomes available. Kat Maraos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on the right side of your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. And for the news abroad, here's Kath Dumaraos reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand.
Good evening, William. The USA Food and Drug Administration affirms safety and efficacy of the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine. It is now waiting for an emergency use authorization. Early Briones tells us why, live. Early?
That after months of development and clinical trials, the USA Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, has finally affirmed the safety and effectiveness of the Pfizer and BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine after finally meeting the prescribed success criteria. On December 8, the FDA released a detailed analysis of the clinical studies of the development and testing of the vaccine, indicating a 95% efficacy of its active immunization against COVID-19 for individuals 16 years and older. The Pfizer vaccine is a 2-dose injection given 21 days apart with an 82% effectiveness against severe presentations already observed on its first dose. Side effects were proven to be minimal, with fatigue, headache, muscle pain, and the swollen injection site being the most common. This Thursday, health experts, including the Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee, are to evaluate whether or not the shots may actually be effective against COVID-19 prevention and if an emergency use authorization will be granted. Meanwhile, Britain has become the first Western nation to have already approved the Pfizer vaccine in its mass coronavirus vaccination program, ordering 40 million doses, and with 800,000 doses set to be administered to hospitals in the coming weeks. Margaret Keenan, a 90-year-old patient soon to turn 91 from University Hospital, England, showed gratitude to be the first person in the UK to have the privilege of receiving the Pfizer vaccine, expressing hope to regain social freedom back in the near future. With UK taking the first step, other countries including Canada, Brazil, and Germany also accelerate their vaccination plans into reality by January of 2021, with Pfizer vaccines expected to produce up to 1.3 billion doses in the same year. Kat?
Thank you, Early, for that report. U.S. President-elect Joe Biden has set a goal of 100 million COVID vaccinations in his first 100 days in office. Justin Masakayan explains why.
President-elect Joe Biden unveils his plan to combat the coronavirus pandemic in the United States of America that claimed more than 283,000 lives. He promised that his administration will have 100 million COVID vaccinations in his first 100 days in office. The president-elect will take office on January 20th, 2021. He also vowed to reopen majority of the schools across the nation and urged Americans to mask up for 100 days. He made these statements in an event in Wilmington, Delaware, where he also introduced his public health team.
That in 100 days we can change the course of the disease and change life in America for the better. Whatever your politics or point of view, mask up for 100 days once we take office. 100 days to make a difference.
Biden promised that educators, along with healthcare workers and residents of long-term care facilities, would be among the targets for the first round of COVID-19 vaccinations. He called on Congress to help fund the vaccine efforts, adding that without the necessary federal funding, the efforts would slow and stall. Biden introduced California Attorney General Javier Becerra as his nomination for Health Secretary and Rochelle Walensky as Chief of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Justin Masakayan, UNTV News and Rescue, USA. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A public health academic has called for an immigration amnesty on undocumented migrants in Malaysia. Joan Tungol reports why.
The Malaysian government should introduce an amnesty program for undocumented workers in Malaysia to ensure that no foreign worker will be left out of the mandatory COVID-19 screening. According to Malaysian Medical Association or MMA President Datuk Dr. M. Subramaniam, without such program, many of those undocumented would likely flee and cause the spread of the undetected virus infection in the community, as well as increase the cases of the virus among foreign workers in the country. MMA is also concerned that thousands of undocumented workers based in the federal capital may not present themselves for the screenings. The fear of punishment being taken against them or their employers may lead them to run away, or employers hiding undocumented workers from the authorities, he added. Dr. Subramaniam asked the Home Ministry and Human Resources Ministry to urgently look into this matter and address the concerns of these workers. Since December 1, the first phase of mandatory screening was carried out in Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Penang, Labuan, and Negiri Simblan. Latest reports suggest that there are about 2 million documented migrant workers, while undocumented ones numbering 2 to 4 million. Joanne Tongol, UNTV News and Rescue, Malaysia. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Japanese government will invest in artificial intelligence to bring single citizens together in hopes of helping to stabilize falling birth rates. Marvy Delfin will give us the details live. Marvy?
Kath, Japan's cabinet office intends to allocate 2 billion yen, equivalent to 924 million pesos, in the next fiscal year to subsidize local governments to start up or continue artificial intelligence or AI projects designed to pair people up. Traditional matchmaking services often use standardized forms that list people's hobbies and interests, similar to signing up for a dating site. AI systems can perform more advanced analysis of the data to help secure a better match, without the limitations of income and age preferences. This move is part of a series of measures aimed at overcoming the slow, disastrous decline in the country's birth rate. The number of births in 2019 was down 5.8% to around 865,000, the lowest annual figure in Japan's records. Japan has one of the lowest fertility rates in the world, with the average number of children a woman has across her lifetime plummeting from 2.001 in 1960 to 1.42 in 2018. This figure is believed to have dropped further due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has posed difficulties in socializing and meeting new people. In addition, the declining birth rate, which is far below the current administration's target of 1.8 by 2025, has resulted in an aging population, of which younger family members may face pressure to care for the elderly, delaying the pursuit of new families of their own. Its rapidly aging population, also a result of long life expectancy, is also a challenge for Japanese policymakers trying to ensure a shrinking workforce can pay for the ballooning cost of welfare services. Other new measures introduced by Japan include some free preschool care facilities to encourage child rearing. But Sachiko Horiguchi, a socio-cultural and medical anthropologist at Japan's Temple University, suggests that there are other factors that need to be addressed if there is any hope of reversing the trend, such as unstable job prospects and disproportionate childcare demands on mothers. Kath?
Thank you, Marvy, for that live report. Tourists from around the world are now welcome to enter Thailand under the Special Tourist Visa or STV long-stay program and help the ailing tourism industry. STV was designed for people who wish to visit Thailand and would be granted a permission to stay for up to 90 days. The STV program was previously available for people from low-risk countries, and only 825 people from 29 countries took advantage of the program since October. However, travelers are still required to undergo a 14-day quarantine in accredited hospitals or hotels as a safety measure against the COVID-19 pandemic. Some other requirements for tourists are a medical insurance with a minimum coverage of $100,000, proof of accommodation in Thailand after quarantine, a certificate of entry issued by the Thai embassy or consulate from the country of origin, and a fit-to-fly medical certificate which states that a person does not have COVID-19 and must be issued 72 hours before the flight departure. And those are the reasons behind the news here in Thailand and in other parts of the globe. For those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on the right side of your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Back to you, William.
Thank you. Kath Dumaraos reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand.
And those are the reasons behind the news, December 9, 2020. I am Horilyn Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.